And so far, so good. I love law. I love everything revolving around the court system and justice and people, you know, winning because we have the courts and the law to assist us. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying the journey, and I'm here to talk to them about it, a bit about it.
Welcome, karibu sana. So today we are here to talk about suing basics. Now, some of us know suing from what we see on movies, series. All right, I'm a fan, but we know it from what we hear people say. You being sued, we will sue you, or even from what our politicians say, I will sue you for defamation. Yeah, I will sue you for defamation. I will sue you for this, or the EACC is suing who for corruption charges and all that. So I think the first question that I'll probably ask you is to just define what suing is in its own right.
Well, when we talk about suing, it's more or less like going for what you deserve in terms of like defending your rights legally in the courts of law. Yeah, that's what we can say.
Awesome. And now, still on the line of suing, who can sue who?
Okay, so when I think we would have actually gone with the topic of access to legal justice, because when we talk about suing, I feel like we can also cover the criminal side of things. You know, when you sue people, mostly you do it in a civil way, in civil courts. But today the agenda is just to talk to people in general about all of it.
Yeah.
So when we talk about who can sue in a criminal, in a civil context, anyone who has been wronged by another person who has committed an act or omission that hurts you in what we term in a civil wrong kind of way. I don't know whether you mean what I mean, what I'm saying. Yeah, in a civil context, if you, for example, have an issue with me and I owe you money, or say maybe I beat you up, and you decide not to go the criminal way, so you're going to sue me to get some money, some compensation for whatever wrong I have done to you. In that context, the one who has the locus standi to sue is you. Unless, say, maybe you died and now your next of kin or your family decide to go after whoever, it's only you who's allowed to do it. But in a criminal context, when we speak of criminal wrongs, they are more or less like public wrongs. You see, if you decide to kill someone today, you are a threat to everyone else as well.
Yeah,
so
true.
In that case, someone, a random person, can equally go and lodge a complaint against you. It doesn't have to be the person who has been hurt or their family. Being a public wrong, anyone can actually go and seek justice in the court of law.
Thank you. Allow me to ask, when you say anyone can go and seek justice, let's get to the children. The last time I had an advocate here, I remember they said that, they said that children cannot really go to court and represent themselves in court. But how does a child sue someone for a wrong that they've experienced, or when a child has been abused, or anything has been done against this child, against their right or against their will, and they feel like they need to air it in court? How can they sue a person?
When it's in a civil context, they go through the next friend, who can be a guardian or a parent, someone who is responsible for the child. But when we look at the criminal side of things, the government offers prosecutors who handle such matters on behalf of not only kids, but adults too in the criminal context. Yeah.
All right. When we talk of, now we have talked about people suing. What about people being sued? Now I am in the wrong. Let's turn the tables now. Using the example you gave, you owe me money. I owe you money. You owe me money, right? No, I owe you money. I owe you money, and you have sued me, right? So what happens to me? What steps can I take once sued? Do I just go and appear in court, or are there things that I need to do before even appearing in court?
Usually there's a process to things. When I decide to sue you, I have to go maybe consult an advocate who will always advise you to demand first via a demand letter. The purpose of this is to help maybe resolve the matter before it goes to court, because sometimes the courts are quite packed. Yeah. And if it's possible to sort it out on your own before going to court, it's best. So I'll have gone to an advocate. The advocate will have maybe written a demand letter on my behalf to you. Maybe say we gave you 14 days to respond, or maybe say something, but you did not. So thereafter, I will collect all the evidence I have against you, hand it over to my lawyer, and then my lawyer will file the matter in court, in the relevant court. Then from there, you'll be given time to respond. You can respond in person, you can appear in person, or you can decide to get an advocate as well. If you are unable to get an advocate, there are other avenues which we can discuss maybe a bit later, which you can explore. But however you decide to appear, you will probably file a written statement of defense to which I have a right to reply, and then the case will begin. Then we'll get to a point where maybe we have had our chance to be heard and all that, then we get a judgment. Then we get to a point where we have the judgment, but you are not paying me back willingly. So maybe you are not able to afford it, but I'm sure, okay, you can afford it, because usually the court does not give orders it cannot enforce. So you can afford it. So there I am going back to court to make an application for execution, because now you have refused to pay. So maybe they'll attach your property, maybe they'll attach your bank details, so that maybe they'll have a standing order up there such that when you receive money in your bank account, it's transferred to mine. You understand? Yeah. Is that what you are asking?
Yeah, yes, and it is well answered. Now, let's, when it comes to the offense that was made, is there a time period, now that we're talking about not the time period between the offense happening, or the offense, between the offense happening and the reporting? Is there stipulated time, regardless of the time between?
Especially when it comes to civil matters, there is a time limitation. There's an act, I think it's chapter 23, if I'm not wrong, of the laws of Kenya. The Limitation of Actions Act, it talks about how much time you have between the point of being wronged to a point where now you go and report. So it depends really on the kind of matter we are dealing with. When we speak of matters contract, issues arising from contracts, you have 6 years. When it comes to claiming awards or actions related to awards, you also have 6 years. Matters like that involve enforcing recognizance, you have 6 years as well. Whatever that is it's like a legal agreement you have with the courts to be attending court, and in the event that you miss an attendance without good reason, that amount of money that has been agreed upon will be forfeited to the courts. It could be an agreement to pay a debt or to attend court, or maybe, yeah. So when you talk of, there are torts. When we speak of torts, they are civil wrongs that have been caused by an act or omission that maybe, how do I put it? Let me restructure.
Okay.
There are civil wrongs. You already know what a civil wrong is, other than enforcement of contracts. So in that scenario, you have 3 years from the point of the wrong to the point of like taking action on it. You have 3 years, after which you might not be able to succeed in like even being heard in the first place, because usually when you file such a case, the other party might challenge your matter and say that you're filing out of time, you know, and if you don't have good reason, the court will easily just throw out your matter. So when we talk of matters, slander and libel, they're slightly different. I think libel is what most people call defamation. Libel is like a written or a published statement that ruins someone's reputation, and slander is just the oral version of it. So when you are in such a situation, you only have 12 months. So when it comes to like a court situation where a judgment has been given and you are not really, like there are issues about it that you feel like you need to contest, you have 12 years to do it. And also when it comes to matters recovery of land, you also have 12 years. When we speak of things like rent recovery, you have 6 years. So really depending on the circumstance, you have to like find out from, you can read on your own, but you can also consult a legal expert when you have an issue. But there are exceptions, situations under which they might give you like a further extension beyond the limit that they gave. For example, like in matters of disability. You see, when disability comes into the picture, they'll kind of extend your time, but also like assuming you are a disabled person and we extended time, maybe say by 6 years, and the next, maybe you're dead, and now the next person who has to follow up on your matter is disabled, it does not apply to them. It only applies to you. It cannot be like done twice. Then in other scenarios, like when the time can be extended is when there's partial payment, like or acknowledgement of wrong. You see, if I am supposed to be suing you for money owed, and you pay a part of it right before I go to court, maybe it has been 6 years or 7 or 8, and there you are paying my money shortly thereafter. In such a scenario, there can be extension of time. And also in matters of ignorance of material facts, what that means is when you're not aware of material facts which you find out later, past the time limit that has been offered, you will be given your time might actually be extended, and you might be heard. You might be given audience in a court of law.
All right, thank you. That's extensive enough. So let me ask, maybe regarding the courts that there are. First of all, who chooses which court you'll go to? Is it you and your lawyer or your legal team that decides, you know what, maybe sisi tunaenda Makadara, ama this is where we are going? Who chooses which courts to go to?
Let me start by clarifying again that there are civil matters and criminal matters. When we speak of civil matters, you'll probably be suing for maybe money owed, or it's a commercial matter, or maybe a children's matter, just that other end of things. So when we speak of that, there's a hierarchy that the courts are organized in. And let me start from the least.
Okay.
When you have matters that involve, like, sometimes you're suing, but you quantify the damage you have suffered monetarily, such that you can decide to say, ulinipiga, now you owe me. I want to ask for, say, 300,000 from you, aside from maybe the medical expenses and all that. So in such a case, we have the small claims court, which was just recently established, and you can do matters that require up to 1 million shillings at the small claims court. Then the next in line, we have like the magistrate courts. So under the magistrate courts, there are quite a number. So we have like the chief magistrates court, which handle matters up to 20 million in value. Then we have senior principal magistrate court. I think this one handles 15 million. Then we have the principal magistrate court that handles 10 million. Then we have senior resident magistrates court that handles up to 7 million. Then claims that, then we have the resident magistrate court that does 5 million, up to 5 million. Yeah, so the High Court basically has mandate to handle all sorts of matters. So whatever goes to the High Court can move up depending on, again, the type of matter that has been forwarded to the High Court.
Does that mean that even if I have a small claim, an issue that can be solved in the small claims court, I can still take it to the High Court?
You don't go directly. You have to start from somewhere. Start from the small claims court. We also have tribunals, and tribunals handle matters that are specific to certain fields. For example, we have the Tax Appeals Tribunal. It only deals with tax issues, tax disputes. We have Business Premise Rent Tribunal, which also handles rent issues when it comes to business premises. And Competition Tribunal, you are advised to first go to the lowest court possible to start handling the matter, as long as it has the jurisdiction, really. And by jurisdiction, I mean you cannot take a matter that you need 5 million from to the small claims court. So, like, logically speaking, just start from the lowest court possible. If it's a matter that can go way up, you'll keep appealing all the way up. And in certain special circumstances, your matter can actually be directly transferred depending on the urgency and how crucial it is, like in matters of public interest, for example. Maybe it's affecting the public in a way that needs immediate attention, and starting from down there does not work. So in that case, you may be allowed to skip the ranks.
So let me ask a rather very open question. You are an advocate of the High Court of Kenya.
Yes.
Does that mean you cannot go to the small claims court? Does that mean you cannot? Does that mean the lawyers now, the lawyers are the one who represent those in the magistrate courts, the senior magistrate court? Or how does it work?
It's just a title, really. It's just a title, and I'm yet to find out, by the way, how it came to be that that's the title we get. But of course, we practice across the board. We can go to small claims court, tribunals. We can still go all the way up to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. We can do all that.
Back to the courts, or the court system, if I can call it so. I am seated at home right now, I'm watching you, and I have someone I want to sue. maybe I don't even know where the first small claims court is at, or where, and I just happen to walk in straight to the High Court of Kenya because I know where that building is. What is the proper channel? What can help me distinguish where this is, where this is?
It's just a matter of finding out, really. Like, you could go to that wrong destination, and they'll still redirect you to the right place and give you the office location and all that. But really, I find that people really struggle with these matters, and assuming you feel like you don't want to use an advocate, because I'd like to really disband the thought that people have that advocates are expensive. No, they're not.
I was coming there. Continue.
No, they're not. It depends on who you're visiting, really, and what the matter is about. Not everything has to be expensive, but in the event that you want to skip the part about working with an advocate, you can always use organizations that offer legal aid. There's this organization that was established by the government, I think in 2007, National Legal Aid Awareness Program. I think it's at the AG's office, if I'm not wrong. They offer legal advice. They give you free legal representation. They can either do it partially or in full. They give alternative dispute resolution services as well, and psychological, what do they call it? Therapy. Therapy, Is this therapy?
Yeah,
is
therapy,
counseling, psychological counseling, that's the word. Yeah, they offer all that, and they deal in criminal matters, civil matters, children's matters, constitutional matters, public interest matters. So that one was established by the government, but we also have NGOs, organizations that are basically NGOs that also offer legal aid. We have FIDA, Kituo cha Sheria, Cradle. I don't know, there's this one called Refugee Consortium.
So in a nutshell, what you're saying is the services are affordable, they're out there, they're attainable. It's just that the common Mwananchi has just decided to have this perception, perception that the services are, the court is inaccessible. And
also another thing they believe, most people believe, is that people don't get justice. Justice exists, people get justice day and night. Of course, there are a few crooked individuals who find their way to sit on this magistrate and judge seats, but we also have those who are genuinely working and doing their job. And plus, remember, you can always appeal or have like a judge removed from a case. So, I mean, speak to a legal expert, get your solution. Justice exists. There are people who are getting it day and night. Or maybe as we try to sum it up, because our time is almost up. Really?
Yeah, imagine.
That was time so flies. Short.
I know. Time flies.
I have not spoken enough.
Part 2 coming up, guys. Part 2. We still have like 5 minutes to go, and maybe we'll ask still on the court accessibility, right? So take us through the process, because number one, I remember there was a day we even did this show and somebody commented and said, there's this thing lawyers say, kufungulia file will cost you this amount of money. And when people hear that, they tend to draw back. So please take us through the whole process from that kufungulia file till getting before the judge or the magistrate in whatever case.
Well, you guys are aware of how tedious law school is. Wengine wetu tuliishi huko, you know, like, so whatever we are doing now might seem simple, but it's not. Like, it's the research involved. You see, when you come to before me with a case, I remember you asked me about some immigration issues, and I told you, since I'm not an immigration expert, I have to research.
Yes.
I know where to get the information. I know who I can talk to if I need further clarification. But we don't usually have all these things in our mind, like we just sleep with a whole dictionary, legal dictionary in your head. No. What happens is when you come with your case, we have to like research on, sometimes based on maybe I know what you require, but in other cases I have to like research based on the unique facts of your case.
All right.
So nikikufungulia file, I'll give you legal advice. This legal advice nimefanyia kazi. And hiyo kazi inaweza kuwa ni kitu ya 2 hours. But remember, before ukuje kuniona for that 2 hours, I spent years.
7 years behind,
Years in school trying to serve you better when I become a professional. So, I mean, just respect people's work, pay for what they're worth. And wewe pia, like, when you need something, most things are not free.
Yeah, true.
Most good things are not free.
What?
If you really want justice, just go for it. I mean, you'll get your reward eventually if you deserve it. And, you know, you'll be fine. Again, the process involves, like I told you earlier, most advocates will do a demand for you. And it was like the process I explained earlier. So with the little time we have left, maybe you can allow me to speak about the criminal side of things.
Okay, yeah.
When you go to a police station, your matter will be recorded kwa occurrence book, the occurrence OB book, the OB book. And in some cases, the perpetrator will be arrested, right? And arraigned in court within 24 hours. And in some situations, you might find that this is not happening at all. And you have followed up with the police and your matter is just not being taken up, you see? So the other alternative you have is you can serve the AG with a notice of intention to prosecute, because there's something called private prosecution, which can be allowed in unique circumstances, but you kind of have to apply for it. So when you apply for private prosecution, you have to outline the details of your attempts at reporting and having the matter taken up, but maybe it's just not happening. So this, the importance of private prosecution was highlighted in Kimani versus Kahara case, where it was highlighted because they say that the importance of having private prosecution is that sometimes, you know, people who are high in ranks and have the power might try to interfere with the process. So in that case, the avenue to prosecute privately was created. So I felt like that was also important to put out there, so that no matter how frustrated you are, remember there's always a way out.
So let's just say it's all, if you have the right legal backing, that is a good legal team, you'll have great representation and you won't have to worry about how do I book at my date in court, how do I blah blah blah. All that falls with the legal team, right?
Yeah, but there's a part where we need you to cooperate with us to make our work simple.
Tell us about
having handled clients. Some clients are difficult, you know. Unaweza itisha documents and information for God knows how long, and they will not provide it in good time, making your work very difficult. Working as an advocate means that sometimes you have quite a number of clients at the same time, and wanting to serve them all in good time is your goal, right? So ukipata a difficult client who is not cooperating, it becomes very, very difficult. Some lie. They give you non-existent facts. So like when you go to court, you end up being embarrassed because usually what they don't realize, the court system is well researched. There are questions that you can be asked that will bring out
the
lies. So you have to be very honest with your advocate and whoever is representing you, and be cooperative. I mean, sometimes there are things that an advocate does not have to do for you. You need to be hands-on, jitume. Like, jua, like, hey, kesi yangu inakuja on this date. Oh, wali tuma ka ruling. Naeza hata endea, you know, just
be hands-on.
Yeah, be hands-on with your case, because remember, we're just helping you handle your case. It is yours before it's ours. We're just sharing in your pain. So you also need to show that effort that's required for us to be successful in the end. I have handled very good clients in the last few years. I'm yet to meet a difficult one.
We pray you do not.
I know. Hey, may they not locate me.
May they not locate you.
Those ones who wake you up in the middle of the night and they're like, I paid you, so you should be available to me at any given time, you know. Yeah, me, I don't like responding past 5 unless it's very urgent, you know, past 5 p.m. I have my family, I have to be there for them as well. I have a life beyond the money you've paid, you know. And it's not like you're buying me. I'm just, you know.
Services.
Services na kuoffer. So, heshima tu.
And that sums it up for us today. Imagine we are at the end of the show. Thank you very much, Tracy, for your time.
And thank you for inviting me over.
You are coming back again, I assure you. Be prepared. Look for more. All right. Thank you very much. And God bless you. Despite the rain, you braved the rain.
Lazima tujitume.
Kujituma. Alafu mshindwa kumlipa guys.
Mimi usikuje hata kama una deposit.
Lazima pesa irudi.
My friend. Kwanza hiyo ya kufungua file. Kuja na
lazima kuwe na nguvu ya kufungua file. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. We will have more discussions. If you're at home and you have questions concerning the Constitution, anything about it that involves you directly, either you are sued and you feel like you are sued wrongly, ama you were not supposed to be sued in the first place, ama mtu alikugeuzia, you know, ask us those questions. We will share them, and then on another date we'll plan with our advocate and we'll have her and she'll be able to answer the questions.
I can also bring my associates.
Yes, please.
So that you can have a whole forum, you know.
Thank you. You are, tunawapangia mema, guys. Mema. I think maybe your parting shot, word of closure.
I want to encourage people waache kuvumilia. Go for what you deserve. Justice exists. It is being served every day. If you cannot afford an advocate, we have already outlined the other alternative avenues that you have. Go and get what you deserve. The world can be fair. The world is fair. The world is fair. Just because you bought a rotten tomato does not mean all tomatoes are rotten. Exactly.
And indeed, if justice is out there, find somebody.
One more thing. Before you acquire an advocate's services, please find out whether they are actually an advocate in the first place. Get their P105 number. We have the LSK website. You can search an advocate on that website and find out whether they're practicing or not, because when they're practicing, their status will be active. When they're not, they'll be inactive. So an advocate who has not paid for their license is not allowed to draft your documents or represent you in court. So don't mess yourself up again in that regard. Be careful.
I know we are summing it up, but let me just ask this very quickly. So how often do you renew your license?
Yearly. It's an annual thing. Yeah,
you guys need to be paid. We need to pay.
And it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
It's not 200 bob, guys.
It's not.
It's not 200 shillings. Thank you very much, Tracy. My name is Consolata Chibalonza, and that's all the time we had for today. I wish you a good night, a warm night, a safe night. If you can't see the road, don't cross.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay.